Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling defeated, not because you were wrong, but because you didn't know how to respond? You felt the tension in your chest, the frustration rising, and yet, no words came. You knew the truth was on your side, but the argument slipped through your fingers like smoke. What if I told you that the greatest minds in history never won arguments by force, but by asking questions? There's a method, ancient, quiet, ruthless. It doesn't shout. It doesn't interrupt. It doesn't humiliate. It simply asks. And with every question, it dismantles confusion, exposes contradiction, and reveals truth. It's called the Socratic Method. And today, I'll show you 5 questions, just 5, that can destroy any argument. Not with violence, not with pride, but with clarity, with reason, with the calm power of a Stoic mind. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you won't just know how to win arguments. You'll know how to think, how to lead, how to walk into any conversation with the quiet confidence of someone who cannot be shaken. Let me take you back. Athens, 400 BC. A man walks barefoot through the marketplace. He's not rich. He's not powerful. But people fear him. Not because he's dangerous, but because he asks questions. His name is Socrates, and his questions are sharper than swords. He doesn't tell people what to think. He asks them what they mean. He asks them how they know. And slowly, their certainty crumbles. Their pride dissolves. And what's left is truth. But Socrates wasn't trying to win. He was trying to wake people up, to help them see their own contradictions, to help them think clearly. And that's why the Stoics loved him. Because Stoicism isn't about domination. It's about liberation. From emotion. From confusion. From the chaos of the world. So let's begin. I'll give you the first question. But don't just listen. Feel it. Imagine using it. Imagine the silence that follows when someone realizes they don't have an answer. Question 1. What do you mean by that? It sounds simple, but it's devastating. Because most arguments are built on vague ideas. Life is unfair. People are selfish. This system is broken. But what do those words actually mean? When you ask someone to define their terms, you force them to slow down, to think, to clarify, and often they realize they don't actually know. They're repeating something they heard, something they felt, not something they've examined. Try it. Next time someone makes a bold claim, don't react. Don't argue. Just ask, what do you mean by that? Watch their face. Watch the gears turn. You've just shifted the conversation from emotion to reason. And that's the first step to Stoic mastery. Because the Stoic doesn't react. The Stoic reflects. The Stoic doesn't fight chaos with chaos. He brings order through questions. Let's go deeper. Question 2. How do you know that's true? This one cuts deeper. Because now you're asking for evidence, for foundation, for roots. And most arguments have none. People say things like, everyone's corrupt. You can't trust anyone. This always happens to me. But when you ask them how they know, they pause. They stammer. They point to one experience, one story, one emotion. But Stoicism teaches us to rise above the anecdote, to see the whole, to seek truth, not just feeling. So when you ask, how do you know? You're not attacking. You're inviting. You're saying, let's build this together. Let's examine it. And if they can't, the argument collapses. Not because you destroyed it, but because it was never solid to begin with. Let me pause here. If this is resonating with you, if you're feeling the power of these questions, subscribe. Because this channel isn't just about philosophy. It's about transformation. And every video is a step toward becoming someone who cannot be manipulated, cannot be shaken, cannot be silenced. Let's continue. Question 3. Is there another way to look at this? This question is gentle, but it opens doors. Because most arguments are narrow. They see one angle, one story, one emotion. But reality is vast. And the Stoic knows that truth often hides in the opposite perspective. When someone says, he disrespected me, ask, is there another way to look at it? Maybe he was distracted. Maybe he was hurting. Maybe you misunderstood. This question doesn't destroy the argument. It expands it. It invites humility. It invites curiosity. And that's the heart of Stoic thinking, not certainty, but openness. Let me give you a moment. Think of a belief you hold strongly. Something emotional. Something personal. Now ask yourself, is there another way to look at this? Feel the shift. Feel the space open. That's the power of the third question. Let's move on. Question 4. Does this contradict something you said earlier? Now we're entering the realm of coherence. Because many arguments are self-defeating. People say, I believe in freedom, but they support censorship. They say, I want peace, but they justify violence. This question reveals the cracks. It shows the inconsistency. And once you see it, the argument falls apart. But again, you're not attacking. You're illuminating. You're helping them see themselves. And that's the highest form of dialogue, not to win, but to awaken. The Stoics believed that contradiction is a sign of confusion, and clarity is the path to virtue. So when you ask this question, you're not just dismantling an argument. You're guiding someone toward integrity. Let's breathe. These questions are powerful, but they require patience, presence, courage, because asking them means stepping into the unknown. It means letting go of the need to be right and embracing the need to understand. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you. You're not just watching a video. You're training your mind. You're becoming someone who thinks like Socrates, who lives like a Stoic. And that's rare. That's sacred. Let's finish with the fifth question, the one that scales everything. What would happen if everyone thought this way? This question takes the argument out of the personal and into the universal. It asks, if this idea became law, became culture, became normal, what would the world look like? Someone says, I lie to protect myself. Ask, what if everyone did that? Someone says, I take what I need. Ask, what if everyone did that? Suddenly, the argument isn't just about them. It's about humanity, and most selfish ideas collapse under that weight. Because they don't scale, they don't serve the whole. The Stoics believed in living according to nature, according to reason, according to the common good. And this question reveals whether an idea aligns with that or not. So there you have it. 5 questions. Simple, devastating, liberating. Not to win, but to awaken. Not to dominate, but to illuminate. Not to argue, but to understand. If this spoke to you, share it. Send it to someone who argues from emotion, from pride, from confusion. Not to shame them, but to invite them into clarity, into reason, into truth. And if you want to go deeper, I've created a downloadable PDF with these 5 questions, Stoic quotes, and examples you can use in daily life. The link is in the description. Subscribe, comment, reflect. Because this isn't just philosophy, it's a way of life.